the problems of life seem never ending. The problems of life seem never ending. However, the reality is that the problems of life will end one day, and they are only temporary. At the same time, we need to understand that this life wasn't created for us to be happy all the time. This life wasn't created for us to be happy 24/7. This is reserved for Jannah. This is reserved for paradise, where we will be happy 24/7, where we will get whatever we want, we will get whatever our hearts desire. In this life, we will face tests, we will face trials, we will face tribulations, because Allah the Almighty created this life as a test for us. Allah the Almighty created this life as a test for us. And we all go through problems in different ways. We all face testing times in different ways. Some of us are tested through our children, where our children become rebellious. Some of us are tested through our other halves, where we have problems in our marriage. Some of us are tested through wealth, where we have financial problems. Some of us are tested through health, where we become ill. So Allah tests everyone in different ways. But at the same time, Allah the Almighty, He tells us in the Quran through a number of verses a key quality that we need to adopt, a key quality that we need to implement in our lives for us to stay strong, for us to stay steadfast, and for us to keep that trust and connection with Allah the Almighty. And that quality is patience. Allah the Almighty mentions in the Quran, يا أيها الذين آمنوا استعينوا بالصبر والصلاة إن الله مع الصابرين. O believers, seek assistance through patience and through salah. So Allah is telling us, seek assistance and seek help from Him through what? Through patience and through salah. So Allah doesn't mention salah first, Allah mentions patience first. Why does Allah mention patience first? Because we are humans. We have emotions. So if we resort to salah straight away, then we will not be able to concentrate in salah. So Allah is telling us, if we go through testing times, the first thing that you need to bring to your mind, the first thing that you need to bring to your mind and heart is patience. Be patient, and then perform salah and connect with Allah. And in being patient, you are automatically connecting with Allah, because Allah the Almighty, He Himself mentions that He is with those that are patient. He is with those that are patient. Allah further mentions in the next verses, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُم مُّصِيبَةٌ قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. That we will certainly test you with some form of hunger, some form of fear, and we will test you in different ways. We will test you through the loss of wealth, through the loss of life, where someone in your family may pass away. We will test you through the loss of fruits and crops and provision, etc. So Allah is telling us in these verses that He will certainly test us in different ways. And then He mentions, give glad tidings to those that are patient. Give glad tidings and good news to those that are patient. And who are those that are patient? That when a calamity strikes them, when they go through a testing time, what do they say? They say, indeed we are for Allah, and indeed to Him we will return. So the first thing that you do is remind yourself of Allah, that this test is from Allah, so you need to stay patient. We normally recite the verse, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, when someone passes away. But this is not the only time we recite this verse. If we go through a testing time, a difficult time, then we also recite this verse. We say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, because we remind ourselves that it is Allah that is putting us through this test. So we need to stay strong. We need to stay steadfast. We need to make sure we endure patiently and we keep that connection strong with Allah the Almighty. Because if we do not have that strong connection with Allah the Almighty, then there is a strong chance that we can give up on life. There's a strong chance that that could lead us to depression, to anxiety, and to other problems. So that is why it is important that we keep that strong connection with Allah, primarily by adopting this key quality of patience. Allah mentions in another place in the Quran, إِنَّمَا يُوَفَّى الصَّابِرُونَ أَجْرَهُمْ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ, that patience is so virtuous that those that adopt this quality of patience, they will be given full reward. They will be given their full reward limitlessly. So patience has a reward that is limitless. Such great is this quality of patience, and we should not undermine this quality of patience. Allah mentions in other places in the Quran in relation to patience, encouraging us to adopt this quality, telling us how important this quality is, such as through the story of Ayub alayhi salam. Ayub alayhi salam, the Prophet Ayub, was a strong character. He was a character that he was tested in multiple ways, and if we look into his life, we read upon his life, then we will say that we are going through nothing. We are going through nothing. The Prophet ﷺ, he also encourages us to implement this quality. He mentions as-sabrul diya, that patience is light. Patience is light, meaning that patience is a form of blessings. If you implement this quality, you become an embodiment of patience, then you will have blessings in your life. And the Prophet is praising this quality by telling us this is a weapon of a believer. This is a weapon of a believer. Because those that do not believe in Allah, those that are disbelievers, when they go through testing times, when they go through trials and tribulations, they have no one to turn to. They have no one to turn to. So even if they adopt this quality of patience, they do not have this sense of accountability in them, that they are accountable to someone. So this leads them to depression. This leads them to do things that are out of the boundaries of Sharia, and even ourselves as well. If we do not have this strong connection with Allah, we do not implement this quality in our lives when we go through testing times, then there's a strong chance that we can lose the right path. We can become misguided. We can resort to things such as drugs, alcohol. We can do severe, major sins. That is why it's important that we keep this strong connection with Allah. The Prophet ﷺ, he mentions in another narration that وَمَنْ يَتَصَبَّرْ يُصَبِّرْهُ اللَّهِ وَمَنْ يَتَصَبَّرْ يُصَبِّرْهُ اللَّهِ, that whoever implements this quality of patience in his life, then Allah gives him the ability to become patient. Allah gives him the ability to become patient. In another narration, the Prophet mentions, عَجَبًا لِأَمْرِ الْمُؤْمِنِ إِنَّ أَمْرَهُ كُلَّهُ لَهُ خَيْرٌ وَلَيْسَ ذَلِكَ لِأَحَدٍ إِلَّا لِلْمُؤْمِنِ إِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ سَرَّاء شَكَرَ فَكَانَ خَيْرًا لَهُ وَإِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ ضَرَّاء صَبَرَ فَكَانَ خَيْرًا لَهُ. How amazing is the case of a believer. How amazing is the case of a believer. In everything that he does, there is goodness. In everything that he does, there is goodness. And this is specifically for a believer. This is specifically reserved for a believer. If prosperity attends him and he expresses gratitude to Allah, then that is better for him. And if adversity befalls him and he endures patiently, then that is better for him. So in everything of a believer there is goodness. So the Prophet ﷺ is trying to encourage us through this narration that if Allah blesses you with blessings, then you need to be thankful to Him. But at the same time, if Allah makes you go through testing times, then you need to endure patiently. And the Prophet ﷺ, he mentions a long story where we can learn many lessons from. And inshallah, I will go into detail in relation to that story that is related to patience. There was in previous times a king who used to believe that he was the Lord. He used to have a court magician. He used to have a magician in his court where whenever he needed to do something, then he would use this magician. The magician told the king that I am becoming old, so you need to send someone young to me who I can teach this art of magic to, and if I pass on, etc., he can be your court magician. So the king, he called for a young boy, and a young boy came, and the magician started teaching this young boy magic. The young boy, on his way to this magician, he would come across a monk, and this monk was quite pious, and he used to believe in Allah. And he created a liking for this monk, and he used to like staying in his company. He used to sit with him on the way to the magician, and he used to learn from him, etc. But when he used to do this regularly, he used to become late for his lessons with the magician. So the magician, he would beat this young boy up, and he would give him a severe beating. So the young boy, he told the monk that I am going to this magician, and when I get late because I'm sitting with you, he starts beating me. So the monk said to the young boy that when you go to the magician and he is about to beat you, or he causes you any form of distress because of coming late, say to him that your family kept you behind. And when you go to your family at night and your family ask you why have you come late, then say that the magician kept you behind. Then the young boy, he carries on going to the magician, he carries on learning, etc. He meets the monk as well. One day he is walking and there is a big beast in the pathway, and it is blocking the way for the people to pass by. So the young boy, he picks up a stone and he says, "Oh Allah, if the way of the monk is more dear to you, then please grant death to this big beast that is blocking the pathway for the people. But if the way of the magician is more dear to you, then please do not grant death to this beast." So the young boy, he grabs the stone, and saying this, he throws the stone at the beast, and the beast passes away, and it clears the way for the people to pass by. And this shows that the monk is on the true path, and the monk is more dear to Allah the Almighty. And when the young boy comes across this situation, he informs the monk of it, and then the monk says to the young boy, "You have become more superior to me. I feel that you will be going through testing times and you will be put through trial. Whenever you are put through trial, do not mention my name to anyone, do not disclose me." So the young boy, he reaches a level where he is able to cure people. He is able to cure lepers. He is able to restore the sight of blind people. He is able to cure illnesses of many individuals. And this is all through the power of Allah the Almighty. Upon one occasion, the courtier of the king that we mentioned at the start, his advisor, he became blind. So he heard of this young boy that he can restore the eyesight of blind people. So he comes to this young boy with many gifts, and he says to the young boy, "Oh young boy, I have got you all these gifts. Please restore my eyesight. If you restore my eyesight, I will give you all these gifts." So then the young boy says, "I do not restore people's eyesight. I do not grant cure to people that are ill. Rather, it is Allah. It is Allah that grants cure to people that are ill. It is Allah that grants the eyesight for those individuals that are blind. I can merely supplicate, and if I supplicate for you, then Allah will grant you cure. But this is only if you believe in Allah and you affirm that Allah is one." So then this courtier, this advisor of the king, who was a disbeliever, he says, "Okay, I believe in Allah. I affirm that Allah the Almighty is the one I should be believing in." And then the young boy supplicates for this advisor, and the advisor of the king, his eyesight is restored. Then this advisor, because now he can see, he goes back to his king, he goes back to working for his king. And then the king, he asks his advisor that, "How did your eyesight become restored? What happened? You were ill just a few days or so ago, and now your eyesight is restored." So this person says that, this advisor of the king says that Allah has restored, my Rabb has restored my eyesight. So the king says, "Do you have a Rabb? Do you have a Lord other than me? I am your Lord. Who else is your Lord?" So then this advisor of the king says, "No, our Rabb is Allah. Our Rabb is Allah. Your Rabb and my Rabb is Allah." And then the king, he starts beating this advisor of his, this courtier of his severely. And then this courtier, this advisor cannot take the suffering. So he discloses that the young boy, he restored my eyesight through supplicating to Allah. And then the king, he calls the young boy in his court, in his palace. And then the king says that, "I have heard that you have learnt magic to such an extent that you can restore people's eyesight, you can cure the ill people, etc." So the young boy says, no, it is Allah that cures. It is not me, it is Allah. And then the king starts beating this young boy severely. And the young boy cannot take the beating to such an extent that he discloses the monk to the king. He discloses that it's the monk, etc. And then the king, he calls for the monk. And he says to the monk, renounce this religion, start disbelieving in Allah and believe in me, or else I will kill you. But the monk, he does not budge, he does not listen, to such an extent that the king, he calls for a saw, and he splits this monk into two pieces, and then the monk passes away. The monk passes away. And then the king, he calls for his advisor, he calls for his courtier, who was blind and whose eyesight was restored through the dua of the young child. And he says, renounce your religion, don't believe in Allah, believe in me, or else I will kill you. But the courtier and the advisor, he does not listen. And then the king, he also splits into him in two pieces, and he also dies. And then the king calls for the young child, the young boy. And he says to the young boy, renounce your religion, renounce your religion. But the young boy says, no, I will not renounce my religion, I believe in Allah. So then the king, he calls his other advisors and he says, take this young boy to a mountain, and if he renounces his religion, then bring him back. But if he refuses to renounce his religion, then throw him off the mountain and kill him. So the advisors of the king take the young boy to a mountain, and they are on the peak of a mountain, and he is told to renounce his religion, but the young boy does not listen. And instead, the young boy, he makes dua to Allah, and he says, oh Allah, save me in any way. So Allah the Almighty, he causes the mountain to shake, and the advisors of the king, they fall off the mountain and they die, but the young boy is saved. He makes his way back to the king, and he says, my Allah saved me, my Allah saved me. And then the king, he calls more advisors of his, and he says to them, take the young boy on a boat in the middle of a sea. And when you reach the middle of the sea, throw this young boy off the boat if he carries on believing in Allah. So the advisors take this young boy to the middle of a sea on a boat, and they say to him, renounce your religion. But the young boy does not listen, and rather he supplicates to Allah, and he says, oh Allah, save me in whatever way you can. So what does Allah do? He causes the boat to topple over, and the boat turns upside down, and all the advisors drown except for this young boy. Allah saves him. The young boy, he makes his way back to the king, and he says, my Allah saved me, my Rabb saved me. So the king, he's astounded, he is amazed, he does not know what to do. So the young boy says, there's only one way that you can kill me, and you have to do what I command you to do. So the king says, okay, tell me, what is that? So the young boy says, you need to gather all the people of this location, everyone, gather them in one place. And then tie me to a tree, tie me to the trunk of a tree. Once you tie me to the trunk of a tree, pull an arrow out of my quiver, and then shoot me by saying, in the name of Allah, the Rabb of this young boy. In the name of Allah, the Rabb, the Lord of this young child. When you shoot me like this, you will be able to kill me in front of all these people. So then the king does this, he gathers everyone, and he ties the young child to the trunk of a tree, and then he takes an arrow from his quiver, and then he shoots the young boy by saying, in the name of the Rabb of this young child, and he shoots. The young boy is hit on his temple, and then when he is hit on his temple, he puts his hand on his temple, and after this the young boy dies. But what happens? All the people that are witnessing this, they are astounded and they are amazed that the king was only able to kill this young boy by saying the name of Allah. So all the people that were witnessing this, they say, we believe in the Rabb of this young boy. We believe in the Rabb of this young boy. So then the king is told that the very same thing that you were worried about, which was these people believing in Allah and not believing in you, has happened. So the king becomes worried. He becomes worried that he's lost all these followers. So then what he does, he tells everyone, renounce your religion. Don't believe in Allah, believe in me. But no one is listening. So what he does, he orders for trenches to be dug. And then he lights fire in these trenches. And those that carry on believing in Allah, he throws them in these trenches. He throws them in these trenches. And those that renounce the religion and believe in him, he saves them. So everyone, or most of the people, are being thrown in these trenches of fire. There comes a young mother with a child, and the child is very young. The mother is hesitant. She does not want to fall in this fire because she has a young child. But what does the young child say? Isbiri, ya ummah, isbiri, innaki ala al-haq. Oh beloved mother, endure patiently, be patient, you are on the truth. And the young mother, she is thrown into the fire as well. And the story ends here. We can learn many lessons from this story which was narrated to us by the Prophet ﷺ. The main lesson is the lesson of patience. That no matter what happens in your life, you will be made to go through testing times. Such testing times that your religion will be made to be shaken. So people will not allow you to act upon religion. And you will go through such testing times that people will make you renounce your religion. And like the Prophet ﷺ mentions, يأتي على الناس زمان الصابر فيهم على القابض على الجمر الصابر فيهم كالقابض على الجمر. That there will come a time upon the people that those that will endure patiently on the religion, that those that will hold steadfast to the deen, it will be as if they are holding on to burning hot coal. Just like when you hold on to burning hot coal, you cannot hold on to it for long. It will burn you. It's too difficult. You will throw it straight away. Likewise, there will come a time where acting upon religion will be the same. It will be like holding on to hot coal. That it will be very difficult to act upon religion. It will be very difficult for us to perform our 5-time daily prayers. But like we see in this story, the number of people that stayed steadfast on believing in Allah, we see the monk, he was ready to be killed for the sake of Allah. We see the first advisor of the king, he was ready to be killed for the sake of Allah. We see the young boy, he was ready to be killed for the sake of Allah. We see the mother and the young child, they were ready to be killed for the sake of Allah. Because they stayed strong. They stayed strong. So even ourselves, when it comes to performing salah, for example, we are out and about, we are working, we are doing things. Then salah comes first. Our 5-time daily prayers come first. We need to stay strong and stay steadfast on our deen, stay connected with Allah. No matter whatever other people say, no matter what those around us say, even if people say, oh, why are you becoming so religious? Why are you starting performing your salah? Forget it. Don't become so religious. Don't listen to them. Because the most strongest connection that is of worry to you and concern to you is that strong connection with Allah the Almighty. Allah the Almighty should always be at the forefront of our mind. And for this will happen if we implement this quality of patience in our lives. I pray Allah the Almighty give us the ability to stay away from all trials and tribulations, and whenever we go through any type of testing times, I pray Allah the Almighty keep us steadfast and make us patient and make us embodiments of patience. I pray Allah the Almighty keep us strong and keep us strengthened in our deen and in our religion. I pray Allah the Almighty give us the ability to keep and maintain this strong connection with Him. And I pray Allah give us the ability to act upon everything that has been said. Ameen wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.